There'll probably be people coming in late. Yeah, leaves the door open.
Welcome, Venerable Thubten Chodron. Welcome everyone here in the center. I'm happy to see so many faces here. And also the people online, welcome. And it is truly a great honor for us and a deep joy to have Venerable Thubten Chodron with us. With her lifelong dedication to Dharma, practicing, teaching, and writing many books, she's truly a big inspiration for many people. I could now spend a lot of time praising all her accomplishments, but I also don't want to take any of her precious teaching time here with us. So I give my
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, can everybody hear me okay? Yeah, because I don't have a very loud voice. And last picture. Yeah, I've said that several times today as she keeps taking more. Yeah, I try to explain I want to live my life, not have a photo album of it. Yeah. Okay, so here we are. And our topic is the 8 worldly concerns, right? Hello? Yes, you're all ready to hear about the 8 worldly concerns, right? You're going to be delighted and happy to hear about how attached you are and how angry you get, right? Yeah? Oh, wonderful. Okay, then I can really go to it, huh? Yeah, the 8 worldly concerns is it's one of my favorite topics. And when I first went to Kapan and studied with Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa, Lama Zopa especially hammered that into us. Okay. The evil thought of the 8 worldly concerns. Evil. That to me, the word evil is like creepy, you know? It's what is evil? Yeah. And then he would really just jump into it and go on and on and on and on. The evil thought of the 8 worldly concerns, attachment to only the happiness of this life. Yeah. Right. We don't have that, do we? We're completely balanced, renounced individuals, no attachment, right? You don't have any attachment. No, no, no. You'd give away everything like this. Okay. So that's just a little preparatory introduction so that you don't faint when I start giving the teaching. So, do you have prayers that you usually start with? Oh, we have ours. Okay, good. Then will you lead them? Yep. You want? Okay. Okay, when we do this, we do the recitations to kind of put our mind in the correct framework. Yeah, so we start out with taking refuge. In other words, deciding what spiritual path we're following, and then generating bodhicitta, so that we know why we're following that spiritual path. Okay. And that why is incredibly important, you know, because here it's to benefit sentient beings. And so the aspiration is to become fully awakened Buddhas for that purpose. Okay. So we're not here to get everything we want. Oh, come on. I mean, if you want enlightenment, yeah, then you're here to get what you want. But if you think about our ordinary life, yeah, did you come here to have a good time? Whee! Okay, now you're here to learn something and to transform our own minds. Okay, so when we do the recitations, they aren't directed towards empty space. Yeah, we imagine the Buddha in front of us, surrounded by all the other Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and ourselves surrounded by all living beings. Okay, this doesn't mean that you try and see them with your eyes, but you imagine that they're all here. Okay, so take a minute and do that. And the Buddha's, in the space in front of you, looking at you with compassion and acceptance. And all the sentient beings are around you. And we think that we're going to lead all of them in turn to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha for spiritual guidance. And we're doing that because we want all beings to have happiness and be free of the misery of our present situation in samsara. And keep the visualization as we do the chanting. Until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, by the merit I create by listening to the Dharma, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by listening to the Dharma, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by listening to the Dharma, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. Happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free of suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings not be separated from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. And then take a couple of minutes and just observe your breath. Don't force your breath in any way, just let it be natural and normal. But keep your attention on it. And in this way, let the mind get calm and free of all the collection of various thoughts that float through it. And then let's take a moment and generate our motivation for sharing the afternoon together. So we can very clearly see that our world is in a bit of a predicament now. And our own mind is also pretty chaotic. So we may want to do something for other living beings to make their lives better. We may want to make our own life better. But so often the strategy we use actually makes the situation worse for ourselves and for everybody else. And that's because our strategy is usually how to get what we want. And it lacks a lot of care and respect for other living beings and what they may need, what they may want. So in Buddhism, we're really trying to enlarge the scope and think of all living beings and not just think of giving them food, clothing, shelter, and medicine, although that's certainly worthwhile and we should do that. But we think of how to get out of this predicament of being born again and again and again under the influence of our mental afflictions and karma. So we're quite fortunate in having encountered the Buddha Dharma that teaches us how to do this. And so we need to make our motivation in line with the Buddha's motivation. And that is one, to care about all living beings and to want to ourselves to become fully awakened Buddhas so that we can be of the best benefit to them while they're in cyclic existence, and also to help them get out of cyclic existence. And so that is our long-term purpose for being here this afternoon. So take a moment and make that your motivation. Okay. So the evil thought of the eight worldly concerns. Oh, it sounds really creepy. Actually, the eight worldly concerns talks about how we live our daily life. Yeah, how we are every day. What's the first thought you have when you wake up in the morning? Most mornings. Yeah, come on. You can tell us. We're all in the same boat. What?
Masala chai.
Yeah, masala chai. You're like me. Okay. What? Yeah, I want to go back to sleep. Why is this alarm again? What else?
News.
What's in the news? Do you really want to know?
No.
But what do you do first thing in the morning? Your phone, which is right there under your pillow, you take out and you look at what's in the news or how many messages you got, how many people are trying to sell you things you don't want. First thing in the morning, that's what you put in your mind. Yeah, because you don't want to miss anything. And then we think, oh, what do I have to do today? Not what do I get to do today, but what do I have to do today? Well, I gotta go to work. Oh God. And I need to take the kids to school. And yeah, what else do I have to? I have to go to the gym, which I don't really feel like. But I'm supposed to get myself healthy. Uh, yeah, good to go back to sleep. Yeah. Okay. Interesting, isn't it? First thought in the morning. Yeah. Okay. We need to change that first thought in the morning. Yeah. And make it, wow, I am still alive. And I've met the Buddha Dharma. And I've met teachers that can show me the path. And there is a path out of this tumultuous, messed up situation that we're in, even though, I mean, in this country, wow, this is a wealthy country. You people are not starving, the requisites of life, food, shelter, clothing, medicine, all over. It's so much. Are you forever and ever happy having all of this? No, you want something more. Yeah, you got to go shopping. Yeah, because there's now a new iPhone number 4953, and your friends have it, and you better get it too. Otherwise, you won't be able to keep up with what's going on. Yeah, with what all your friends are doing. Yeah. Oh, look, I'm on Instagram. So and so went to the park today. Okay, next one. Oh, look. Yeah, here's some people. Oh, the Catholic nuns are dancing. Yeah, okay, next one. We're always looking for something amusing, aren't we? Yeah, I want to be amused. I want to be entertained. Yeah. And it's the world's responsibility to entertain me and to give me everything I want. Yeah. So you got to start with the iPhone. And then there's the latest style clothes, right? Yeah. Which I don't know about here. I haven't seen many magazines, but the latest style clothes in the States is like almost no clothes, at least for the women. Yeah. Women, see through everything, low cut, everything. The men, with their ties choking them up here and they're hot and their suits sweating like gallons. But you got to, be in style, right? Mm-hmm. And then sports equipment. Yeah. Anybody want sports equipment? You don't look interested in that. Let's try something else. Chocolate cake. How about that? Swiss chocolate. Or do you get tired of Swiss chocolate because it's here? You never get tired of Swiss chocolate. Yeah, we don't either. Yeah. Wow, Swiss chocolate. Yeah, that is close to nirvana, isn't it? Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Then what else do you want? Well, stylish clothes, Swiss chocolate, your paycheck. Yeah, except you don't even get a paycheck in your hands nowadays. They deposit it directly into your account. It used to be on Fridays, you had a piece of paper to hold and say, this is the value of my last week, this piece of paper. Got to go put it in the bank and then take it out of the bank and spend it ASAP. But now you don't even get a piece of paper. It goes right in your account. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it used to be when you went to buy a car, you gave somebody a piece of plastic and they gave you the car. Now, and they gave you the piece of plastic back. Now you don't even need to do that. You just go and say, I want it, and they take it out of your bank account, and that's it. And now you have the hottest car, which will really impress all your neighbors. Yeah, what else is going to impress your neighbors? All the flowers you plant. Yeah. Do you take care of people your garden? Yeah. So you want to decorate your house nice. Yeah. So this becomes the focus of our life. Basically, how can I be amused? And how can I get just little bits of happiness here and there? You know, I want the great happiness. Yeah. What is the great happiness? What does society tell us is the best happiness? Oh, you people don't know? Huh? Being famous, yeah. That's certainly one element. Yeah, because if I'm famous, then I must be a good person. Yeah, if I'm famous, everybody respects me. Everybody thinks I'm great. And if other people think I'm great, I must be great. But then you're famous, and what happens? People write columns about you and they criticize you. You know, you're this great violinist, squeak, squeak, you know, and you want a good review and they don't give you that. Yeah, they criticize. Or you're a dancer or a TV host on a game show. Isn't that exciting? Huh? You don't look so excited. Okay. You could win 2 tons of Swiss chocolate. Now, does it sound exciting? Okay. So if we look at our day, we're always looking outside how to get something that is going to make us happy. Yeah. Happiness is outside. Yeah. Happiness is money. Happiness is fame. Happiness is praise. Happiness is good food. Happiness is, you know, external things. Yeah. And so that's half of our purpose of life, to get those things that we want. And the other half is to get away from everything that we don't want. Yeah. So I heard that Switzerland wants to some people want to cap the population here. Yeah. You don't want people like me moving in. Yeah. Just crowds the country out. Yeah. We don't want too much traffic. We don't want this stupid war. because we want gasoline. Oh, dreaming about gasoline every night and everything, that petroleum can give you. You can get helium. It helps you have MRIs, I think. Yeah. And the petrol, you can get in your car, go wherever you want. And what else can you get with it? All sorts of medicines. You can travel and go on vacation and eat Swiss chocolate in Africa. And yeah, we want oil. And we're not getting what we want. That stupid guy in the White House. Yeah, we should put him in the doghouse. Don't you agree? No? Oh, you want him in his ballroom. Is that it? What? Change his mind. Change his mind. Yes. Yes, he changes his mind all the time. Yeah? Yeah? The purpose of the war is regime change. Then the next day, the purpose of the war is, what else was it supposed to be? To get rid of the nuclear material. Then the next day, the purpose of the war is to get rid of the ballistic missile system. And then the next day, the purpose of the war is to prevent all your American supporters from voting for the other party when midterms come in a few months. Yeah, because you want power. Yeah. I mean, this is what human beings center their lives around, isn't it? Yeah. Getting what we want, being free from what we don't like. Okay. So this is those two things, getting what we want, being free from what we don't like, is encapsulated in what we call the 8 worldly concerns. Okay. So they're in pairs. Yeah. First pair, material things. So goods, resources, money. Yeah. We want these. Yeah. There's attachment. We want them. And we don't like when we can't get what we want, or when somebody steals what we want, or steals what we have, or damages it, or somebody else has more than we have, or they forget our birthday and don't give us a birthday present. Oh, that's the worst. That's worse than the war, isn't it? Somebody forgot my birthday. Okay, so that's the first pair. Material goods and money, getting them, pushing away anything that interferes with us getting them. Second pair. Well, first pair, does that sound like things you do? Things, yeah? Yeah. If you don't nod your head yes, then you're either a Buddha or you're lying. Okay. Second pair, we want praise. Nice, sweet, ego-pleasing words. Oh, you're so attractive. Yeah. You look so well. You speak so well. You're so talented. Oh, you're a musician. Oh, you're an astronaut. Really? Wow. How did you get to be an astronaut? Yeah. Can you put in a good word for me to be one too? We want sweet words. Yeah. You're the best person in the office. Yeah, you really make a difference in your work. Yeah. Your brother, your sister, they don't amount to anything. You are the wonderful child who is so successful. We want to hear those words, don't we? Yeah. And we especially want to hear, I love you. Yeah. Get a dog or a cat. Yeah. They don't say it in words, but they're the most reliable ones who love us. Yeah. Because you want to hear, I love you. You are the one and only in my life forever and ever. How long does forever and ever last? How many of you are divorced? Only one person. Let's try that again. How many of you are divorced? How many of you in the process of getting married had broken relationships and painful things happen? Oh, okay. We don't like those things, do we? That person who said you're so wonderful, then what happens to them? They say, you're such a jerk. Yeah, you're such a creep. Why was I ever with you? And then your feelings are hurt, right? Anybody who's not had that happen? Oh, I see. You people have never been dropped in relationships. That means you must be the people who say those awful mean things to other people because you want to drop them. Okay. So we want praise and we don't, the sweet words, and we don't want blame. We don't want criticism. Yeah. I trusted you with this project and you completely bailed out. Yeah, you're so irresponsible. We don't want to hear words like that. So that's the second pair. Sweet, ego-pleasing, wonderful words, and not liking criticism and blame. But we are perfectly willing to blame and criticize others. Aren't we? Can you go one day without criticizing somebody? Yeah, think about it. Watch your mind what you do during one day. Can you go one day without criticizing someone? Just even a little criticism. Yeah, it's hard. We're very good at picking faults, but we don't like when people pick our faults. That is illegal. Yeah. Okay, so that's the second set. Third set sounds similar to the second one, but it's different. It's, I want to be famous. I want to be well known. I want people who don't know me to know my name and praise me behind my back. Yeah. I want to be powerful. I want to be in the news every day. Yeah. This is dear Donnie's problem. You know who dear Donnie is? You don't know who dear Donnie is. Well, Donnie is a nickname I have for him because a nickname is something enduring. And he just happens to be the focus of my practice of compassion. Yeah. So dear Donnie lives in this big white house and changes his mind every day. And he likes to throw rocks at other people. Yeah, rocks in the form of bombs. Yeah. And it makes him important and famous and powerful. And he needs that every day to be in the headlines, to even be in the bylines. Yeah. So we want fame, we want power. Yeah. So praise, the previous one, is more personal, how other people talk to us. Power and fame is with a large group. We want to be known. Okay. And what goes with that is the opposite. We don't want notoriety, to have a bad reputation. We want a good reputation. We do not want a bad reputation. We do not like, when, I don't know how much people follow politics in the US. But we don't like when other people bring lawsuits against us for things that we did, but we didn't do. Yeah. But we will bring many lawsuits against other people. Okay. So we don't want to be criticized publicly in any kind of forum or group. Yeah. So that's the third one. Attachment to fame and power, aversion to, bad reputation. And then the fourth pair is attachment to good sense perceptions. We want to see beautiful things. So let's go traveling. Yeah. Not to India. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to see the rubbish in the streets in India. I want to see beautiful things. I want to hear beautiful sounds, the music of my generation. I don't want to hear the music of my parents' generation or my kids' generation. My generation, because we're the hip one. Yeah. Okay, so eyes, ears, smells. We want to have nice smells all around us. Perfume, aftershave, beautiful flowers, the smells. Okay. We don't like the smell of plugged up toilets. We don't like the smell of a city when the garbage collectors are on strike. Okay. We want pleasant tastes. Okay. The food we like. We do not want stuff that's burnt or not cooked enough or too much chili or not enough salt. Yeah. We want exactly the food we like. And we don't want the food that we don't like. Mm-hmm. True? Not true. Okay, so eyes, ears, nose, taste, touch. We want nice, soft, and smooth touches. Okay, we want the exact temperature that we want. Yeah, not too hot, not too cold, exactly what we want. It doesn't matter if somebody else in the room is too cold. We cannot turn up the heat if I'm just okay. And if I'm hot, we're going to turn on the air con. It doesn't matter if other people are too cold. Yeah, has to be temperature I want. Okay. And the seat has to be comfortable. Is your seat comfortable? Uh, it'd be nice if the cushions were a little bit fluffier, a little bit softer, if you didn't have to sit in pretzel position. Yeah. You want nice, comfortable. Yeah. and we want to think about nice things. Okay, so part of our time in the day is we're thinking about nice things, which are, okay, money and possessions, praise, yeah, good reputation, and nice sense perception. That's what we want to think about all day. What do we wind up thinking about all day? Oh, God. It's like I told the kids to clean up their room and they didn't clean their room. Yeah. And my boss is on my case again. He wants me to work overtime. And 10 years ago, my brother did something really nasty. I can't remember exactly what he did, but I remember how angry I was at him. And so I go over and over. I don't remember what he did, but I remember the fight we had about it afterwards. Have you had that experience? Of you're really mad at somebody, you can't remember exactly what it was. Yeah, but you're still mad and you think about it again and again, called rumination. Yeah, or you go over that breakup. Yeah. Yeah, right? Mhm. Okay, so those are the 8 worldly dharmas, regarding, first of all, material possessions and money, praise and sweet words versus blame. Yeah. Good reputation versus a bad one. And then pleasant sense experiences versus things that we don't find pleasant at all, that may even be painful. Okay. Now, if you look at your life, would you say that most of the day you're focused on one or the other of these 8? Yeah. That's what we focus on every day. Yeah. The pleasure you get, okay, how long does it last? You eat a piece of Swiss chocolate. How long does that pleasure last? 1 minute? If it's a big piece, maybe 2 minutes. Yeah. Somebody says such wonderful, sweet words to you. Yeah. How long do you feel happy from that? The words themselves don't take very long. Yeah. You remember them afterwards and embellish them just a little bit. So, okay. How long the good sense perceptions that you have, see beautiful things, that person that you think is just so attractive. Yeah, how long does that pleasure last? Is the person that you find so attractive going to, as time goes on, be more attractive? Mm-mm. Yeah. How about your body? How much time do you spend making yourself look good, making yourself look attractive? Yeah. Well, you comb your hair in a certain style. You dye your hair. If you're a guy, you try and get some hair. You get older. Yeah. How much time do you spend making your body look good? How much time do you spend just making your body feel good? The bed's too hard, the bed's too soft. Yeah. The room's too cold. The seat's too hard. Yeah. We got to fix all of that. So we fix it all. And then are we happy ever after? No. All this, what the movies tell us is great bliss. Yeah. How long does that last? Your fantastic love affair. Yeah, with Prince Charming, who showed up finally. Or Princess Charming, finally, you've been waiting all this year, and finally he's, yes, dear. How long does that last? Yeah, until you have a fight. How many of you have had a relationship with no fights? Yeah. Are the fights you have with the people you're closest to, yeah, aren't they the most painful fights you've had? Do you say to the people that you love the most things that you would never, ever, ever say to a stranger when you're mad? It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. The people that you care about the most, you say the cruelest things to. Yeah. Does that make us happy? Yeah. I mean, you've been together for however long, and you've kept a nice, you don't even need to write it down in your phone. You know it by heart. Everything that they did that you don't like. And you preserve that list in your mind so that the next time your partner accuses you of something or criticizes you, you bring out your list. 5 years ago, you did this. Yesterday, you did that. This morning, you did this. And then you did that. And then you didn't do this. Or you didn't do that. Right? And we call all of this happiness. Isn't samsara, cyclic existence, wonderful? Yeah. Okay. My point here is we have a human life, which is actually quite difficult to come by in samsara. We have to create a lot of virtuous karma to have a life, which isn't just any human life. It's a human life where we are interested in the Dharma and where we're able to meet qualified teachers, where we have the health to be able to hear teachings and practice them. It's not just any human life. It's actually quite rare to have. Yeah. So we have that kind of life, and we have the possibility to really transform our mind and to free it of all this garbage that goes on in our mind, all the anger, the jealousy, the craving for things that we don't have. Yeah, we have the opportunity to free our mind. We have the opportunity to develop compassion that goes equally for each and every sentient being. Wouldn't that be nice? To have positive thoughts and feelings towards everybody, no matter who they are, to be free of the mind that's so critical and angry and complaining. Yeah. So we have the possibility to do that. And we have the possibility, as we go through the stages leading to awakening, to really influence other living beings in a very positive way so that they can make their lives meaningful. Yeah. So we have this very rare, precious human life with this possibility. And how do we use our time? The eight worldly concerns. don't we? Yeah, that's how we use our time. Yeah, we don't wake up in the morning. This is a practice for you to start doing. Yeah, instead of waking up in the morning and where's my espresso? Where's my masala chai? Yeah, to wake up in the morning and say, wow, I'm alive and I have the possibility to generate kindness equally towards all living beings. Does that sound like a better use of your life than how it's being used now? Just looking for sense pleasure and praise and so on. Hello? Oh, you're stuck on the masala chai. Okay, yeah, yeah. I heard they have very good masala chai in the Pure Land. Yeah, you go to the Pure Land with Amitabha Buddha, you can drink all the masala chai you want. Okay, and you can get really good teachings that will help you be free from craving masala chai. Yeah. Can you imagine not craving that? Yeah. We think craving and attachment is good. Yeah. Attachment makes us excited. Oh, I'm going to get a bonus for New Year. I'm going to get a pay increase. Oh, this is great. You know, I've worked so many years and now they're going to give me an increase. Great. Yeah. And then I can go out and buy. What do I want to buy? A BMW. You're not smiling. And don't you want a BMW? They're so wonderful to have on these small streets, and all your friends will be envious of you. Yeah. Yeah. Couldn't you use a few friends who are envious, who are saying, wow, you must be so good at your work because they pay you so much, and now you can have a BMW. There you go. Okay. So my point in all this is, how are we spending our time? Yeah. Because as they say, we aren't getting any younger. We are in the process of aging. Yeah. Aging culminates in, starts with a D, dying. Yeah. Sounds wonderful, huh? I can get all these things. My bank account is loaded up. I have a beautiful house. I have a trophy spouse. You know, I'm powerful. People talk about me and praise me and think I'm wonderful. And I've got everything I always wanted. And how does that end? You die. And what happens to all the stuff that you work so hard to get? Well, you can be like the lady who donated the land and the house and the park up the hill. Do you want to donate everything you have to a charity, to the public? No, to your family. Yeah. So that all your kids think you're wonderful. Yeah. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but very often, you know, when the parent dies, what happens with the kids is the kids start quarreling more than they quarreled when they were little, because they all are quarreling over who gets what. Yeah. Yeah. You think I'm not telling the truth? I'm telling the truth. So, yeah. So the point is to really think, what is happiness? Yeah. Are the four things, possessions, praise, good reputation, sense pleasure, do those things bring lasting happiness? Yeah. Think about when you were 6 years old and what you wanted and how much you wanted, that ball or that toy, whatever it is. And maybe you even got it. Yeah. Where is it now? Think what we do to get what we want. You work really hard at your jobs, don't you? Work really hard to get what you want. How many of you like your jobs? Oh, now some people actually raise their hands. Your hands work, huh? Yeah? Okay. What do you like about your jobs besides your paycheck? Yes. Please speak wide, loud. You get to, I'm sorry, I have my hearing aids in, but I'm still not here. You fulfill your purpose. Yeah. You feel like you're contributing. Yeah, that's good. Other people? Yeah. It's creative. Okay. Yeah, that's good. I like to hear some people who like their jobs. Yeah. Oh, you serve the chocolate, huh? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's interesting to think, what do we do to get the things we want? Because very often what we do to get what we want involves doing things we don't like or doing things that are not virtuous, that are unvirtuous. How many in your work find that you have to lie? Just little white lies. Yeah, the little ones. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Often you find that in your work you have to, it's not lying, it's just telling the story in a different way. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I go to Singapore to teach. It's a very modern society, business oriented. And there's one family that we have lunch with every time we go. And the man is a businessman, very successful. And he asks me almost every year, how can you do business without lying? If you're going to do business, you need to, just massage the truth a little bit so that it's the way you want to see it. No, so that it's the way the other person thinks it's going to be. And then what actually happens is a little bit different. Yeah. Let me give you an example. At Sravasti Abbey, where I live, we just finished building a Buddha hall. Okay. So we found a contractor. We thought he was really good. We signed a contract. He said, everything is laid out in this contract. Here's the total amount. You're not going to be charged more than this. And the project will be done in 12 or 13 months. Sounds so good. Yeah. Well, the project just took 3 years, not 1 year. And it was way over what we signed the contract for. Yeah. I think maybe he knew that that might happen. But it's business. It's what you do. Huh? So this man in Singapore, he really wants to know, how do I, how am I going to be successful without lying? And I tell him the story of another friend of mine who used to work for Levi Strauss in Hong Kong. She was an executive in Levi Strauss. And I asked her that question once, many, many years ago. And she said, if you lie to your customers or your clients, they're not going to come back to you. Yeah, because they're not stupid people and they know they'll figure out eventually that they've gotten charged too much or the product wasn't good enough or whatever, and they won't come back to you. So even though you make a lot of money initially, in the long term, no, yeah. But if you tell them the truth and you give them good deals, then they will come back again and again. And they will also tell their friends that it was very nice doing business with you. So I tell that to this gentleman. And he says, but how do I do business without lying? It's really stuck on that. Okay. But what I'm getting at here is what we do to get the things that we want often involves cheating, lying, yeah, killing. How many of you go out for seafood and pick out the shrimp or the fish that you're going to eat and watch them throw it in the boiling water live? Yeah. We do all sorts of things to get what we want. And in the process, we harm a lot of living beings. And our motivations for doing these things is non-virtuous. Okay. Now, you'll have to excuse me that I used Donnie as an example. We can call him some other name, okay? Just some guy who has a lot of power. Yeah. He wants to be famous. He wants to be powerful. He wants the newspapers to, write about him every single day. He wants to be rich. Yeah. He wants to have a trophy wife. You know what a trophy wife is? Yeah. Yeah. Or a trophy husband. And, that's what he wants. And so what does he do? Well, he started different businesses that all fall apart. Yeah. He starts wars without thinking and planning and seeing the outcome. I don't think he knows the difference between the truth and a lie. Yeah. He insults people personally. Yeah. Online, on his, not X, but his own personal thing. Yeah, so that the people that work for him, that he praises when they do what he wants, when they cross him in any small way, then he criticizes them publicly on social media. Oh, that sounds great. Isn't that what you want to happen? Yeah. Okay. So in the process of having wealth and power and fame, yeah, the karma that he is creating is horrific. Yeah, because it involves harming so many other living beings. It involves so much dishonesty. So you get what you want by means that are harmful to yourself. And the thing is, when we harm others, we are also harming ourselves. We think that harming others is harming others. I don't suffer as a result of it. They suffer. I got even. I got revenge. When we harm others, we harm ourselves. Okay? In two different ways, we harm ourselves. Okay? Because at the end of the day, yeah, at the end of our life, at the end of each day, we're the ones who truly know our own motivation. We're the ones, doesn't matter how much praise we get. Yeah, doesn't matter how much praise, because we're the ones who know whether what we did was honest or kind. Yeah, we're the ones at the end of the day who have to live with ourselves and either respect ourselves or feel quite ashamed of how we've acted towards other living beings. Okay, so when we act in non-virtuous ways to get 4 of the 8 worldly dharmas and get free from the other 4, yeah, we're harming ourselves right now in terms of our own self-respect and self-esteem. Second of all, our actions, these harmful actions we do, leave seeds on our mind stream that will influence what we are reborn as, and after we're reborn, what we experience. When we harm others, we're not going to have a great rebirth. Yeah. When we lie in a future rebirth, even we're born human, other people are going to lie to us. Yeah. How do they say? What goes around comes around. What you put out in the universe comes back to you. It's like the boomerang effect. Yeah. Okay. So when we harm others, we harm ourselves now because we aren't happy with ourselves. And we harm ourselves in terms of creating the cause for future misery in a future life. Yeah. And what we do it for is to get 4 of the desirable 8 worldly concerns and get free of the other 4 undesirable ones. And the desirable ones don't last that long. And the undesirable ones don't last that long either. But we're so focused on just the happiness of this life that our mind becomes like this teeny thing, yeah, that is only focused on, I want what I want when I want it. Yeah, I really think somebody should make a rap song out of that. It has a good melody. I want what I want when I want it. I don't want it later. I don't want something else. I want what I want when I want it. And I don't want what I don't want when I don't want it. Because if I get what I don't want when I don't want it, I get mad. I get furious. I retaliate. I complain. I swear. I throw things. I say mean things to the people I care about. I slander innocent people. I talk behind people's back. And all of that, again, makes us not feel good about ourselves and plants these seeds of negative actions in our mind stream. Okay. So this is why Lama Zopa calls it the evil thought of the 8 worldly concerns. Yeah. It's evil because it causes pain to ourselves and others. Okay. Now somebody's going to raise their hand and say, does that mean I can never be happy? Yeah. Does that mean I just can't get anything I want because it's all bad? No, it doesn't mean that. Okay. There is nothing wrong with being happy. We all want to be happy. The thing is, we don't really understand or know what happiness is. Yeah. We think happiness, oh, somebody gave me this beautiful piece of brocade. I'm so happy. Yeah. For how long? And then your house gets filled with more and more junk. And you have closets full of stuff, so much stuff that you forget what you have and you don't want to clean it out and give it away to other people who don't have what you have and may actually need it because it's so much effort to clean out our house and give things away. And also, when we clean things out, yeah, you're poking her. Yeah, it's always like that, you know. Yeah, you think I didn't see that? I give talks on anger, and you can always tell who's married. Honey, listen to what she's saying. Yeah. You be nice to her. um, so where was I? Yeah. So, you know, to really ask ourselves, you know, what really is happiness? Yeah. Is happiness getting what we want when it's just material things and praise and fame and nice sense perceptions, all these things that don't last very long? Okay. Or is happiness in what you said, contributing to the welfare of others in some way, shape, or form? Yeah. When you can contribute, we all have our own individual good qualities. And when we can contribute them to society and see that they have a positive effect, even if nobody comes up and says thank you or gives you some money for it, you feel good about yourself. Yeah. I did something that was beneficial to somebody else. That kind of happiness is very different from the other kind of happiness of running around trying to get what we want and be free of what we don't want. Okay. So we all want happiness, but we have to think about what really is happiness. Yeah. And think not just what is happiness right now, but long term, what is happiness so that as I age, I will feel good about myself and how I lived. Yeah, that kind of happiness. What is the happiness of knowing when I die, I'll have a good rebirth? How about the happiness of knowing that I contributed whatever skill I had? I'm not the best one. I don't have to be the best one, but whatever I did contributed to the welfare of others and have a sense of fulfillment. Yeah. I think that sense of fulfillment, that because we've made our life beneficial for others, I think that's much more stable, a much more lasting kind of happiness than just, oh, look, somebody gave me this pretty cup. It's so beautiful. Do you have a cup like this? Oh, you only have that ugly green thermos. Look what I have. It has all the auspicious things. Yeah. And then I drop it and it breaks. Oh, my cup is broken. Actually, the cup is already broken. It has in its nature the nature to break. How long is this cup going to last? Yeah. And if I get my self-esteem from a cup, something's wrong. Yeah. I get my self-esteem because I have a cup that has gold on it, and you have an old plastic green thermos. Ugh. Okay. So what Buddhism does is it challenges us, yeah, to ask, what is happiness? What is living a good life? What is fulfillment? What do I do when I don't feel good about what I did? Can I purify it? Okay. Because what we see in the West, what I see anyway, in working with people, is people don't like themselves very much. Many people. Yeah. They're proud of certain things, but there's certain things that they don't like about themselves or that they feel guilty about, and they don't know what to do. It's miserable going through your life feeling guilty, isn't it? Yeah. So, here's where Buddhism teaches us how to purify. Yeah. How to, make amends for the things we've done that we don't feel good about, so that we don't have to go through our lives feeling guilty and hating ourselves, because that's really rotten. Yeah. So we have to reorient our life towards a different kind of happiness and fulfillment. Yeah. And use our resources and our energy in a way that will really have long-term effects, not only good effects on ourselves, but good effects on other living beings as well. Because we're social animals, we depend on each other. And if you think about it, we all the good things we have, every little bit of knowledge we have, comes due to the kindness of others, doesn't it? Yeah. Anybody here born and able to speak? Yeah. I mean, the simplest thing that we use every single day of our life to speak, we weren't born with that. Other people taught us. They held us up as little babies and they went, goo, goo, ga, ga, or in German, yeah. Yeah, I'm learning German. Yeah. Uh, um, and that's how we learn to speak, due to the kindness of other people. Yeah. Things, reading and writing, skills we use every day, we weren't born with. Yeah, people taught us. Yeah. All of our teachers, your grade school teachers who taught you reading and writing and arithmetic, were we kind to our grade school teachers? Oh, you all look so sweet and innocent now. No, no, we did all sorts of naughty things, didn't we? Yeah. How about with our parents? Were we kind with our parents in our teenage years? Let's not talk about what we did in our teenage years. Okay. But so there's ways to purify all of this and to really, make our lives meaningful for ourselves and for others. Okay. So we have a few minutes for questions and maybe answers. Yes. People, you have to talk really loud. Yeah. Mm. Okay. So it looks like people don't do things out of kindness. They do it out of worldly concerns. So we have to redefine kindness. Okay. We usually think kindness means somebody did something nice for who? Me. Okay. So you're kind if you do nice things for me. If you do nice things for somebody I don't like, you're not kind. And especially if you do nice things for somebody who harmed me, then forget you. Then you're bad. Okay. That's the way we usually think. Okay. We have to change that way. The point isn't, when we look at other people's kindness, what their motivation was. The point is that they did something that we benefited from. Okay. And that if they didn't do that, we wouldn't have what we have. And we wouldn't be able to stay alive even. Yeah. Anybody here make the material that your clothes are made out of? Anybody here grow all the food that you ate today? Do you know the people who built this building? How about the people who built whatever transportation you used to get here? All the people who produce the oil and the gasoline that we crave. Yeah. We don't even know those people, but because they did whatever they did, their job in society, we benefited in a personal way. So kindness is not because they did it for me. Kindness is just because they did it and I benefit. And if they didn't do that, yeah, if they didn't do that, we wouldn't have a building to sit in and talk. We wouldn't have a microphone. We wouldn't have food. We wouldn't have transportation. We wouldn't have anything. Yeah. Our whole lives are completely dependent on other living beings. Especially now, I think more than any other time in human history, we depend on others. Yeah, and that's kindness. So we're actually in our lives the recipient of tremendous kindness that so often we just take for granted. But when we open our eyes, we see it all around us. So much kindness. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
I wonder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Criticism, then they get triggered.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then, of course, if one says, oh, you shouldn't be so triggered, and of course, it's the intellect that says you shouldn't react to criticism, but trauma works in different ways. So I wonder what should an approach that is self-compassionate, so that one doesn't blame oneself for reacting, for wanting these things where you concerned, and yet move on.
Mm-hmm.
We both know that they are harmful for us, but we need some self-compassion in order to not beat ourselves up all the time.
So you've had trauma, and it would be so nice if people gave you some praise once in a while, huh? Yeah. Or they said nice words or something. Okay. The thing about trauma, and people probably will not like my answer. Yeah. Every year at the Abbey, we have a course for young adults. And a couple of years ago, we have discussion groups. It's really a wonderful course. And the kids were all saying, the young adults were all saying, trauma, trauma. And I said one day, who has trauma? Because to me, the way I grew up, I mean, trauma was like super serious, you were in a war and what's going on in Iran, that is trauma. But I said, who has trauma? And the young adult said, oh, we all do. What is trauma? Well, I didn't get what I wanted when I was young, and my mother did this and my father did that, and they didn't do what I this and they didn't do that. And, I failed first grade and, I'm traumatized. And it's become a word that doesn't seem to have a lot of meaning now, once everybody has it. Okay. Now, if we can talk about people who had serious trauma, real trauma, okay, you get triggered. You can learn what your triggers are. Yeah. And learn how to, instead of just reacting in the same old way, train your mind to react in a different way. Okay. This you're really not going to like. When somebody criticizes you, instead of saying, oh, my whole life I've gotten criticized, I've been unappreciated, say, well, that's going to make me think. Is what they said, does it have some truth in it? If it has some truth in it, then I don't need to get upset because the person is telling me something that's true, that I know is true. I have that fault. I made that mistake. Or if what the person said is not true, I also don't need to get upset because what they said isn't true. And if they had the correct information, they wouldn't say that. In other words, I don't need to take everything ego personally and be ego sensitive. Yeah. We all have buttons. Okay. You know what I mean by buttons? Not the buttons on your clothes, but the buttons that people push when they say something you don't like, very often without meaning any harm, but we are offended. We are triggered. We are unhappy. Yeah. And this happens all the time. Who has the buttons? We all do. Whose responsibility is our buttons? Our own responsibility. They're my responsibility. Yeah. If I have buttons and they're this, I'm just using an analogy, they're this big, bright red, flashing, and they get set off by just the wind of somebody walking by. That person doesn't even need to touch it. And my button goes, ah! Okay. Are my buttons going to get pushed? You bet. Whose responsibility are my buttons? Mine. Now I want to say, well, I have buttons because you did this and you did that and I didn't get what I wanted and, blah, 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 blah. That's why I have buttons. No, we have buttons because we're ego sensitive and we just hold on to our buttons. And what's really destructive is we make an identity out of our buttons. I am a traumatized person. I am a person from an oppressed group. I've never been treated fairly in my life. I have been discriminated against. Nobody likes me, even though I try and be so kind. Everybody hates me. I don't understand why. Ah, yeah. That story that we tell ourselves of how miserable we are and how unfair this world is towards us, who is telling that story? We are. We're the ones who created that story. We're the ones who created an identity of being persecuted and treated unfairly. Yeah. So if you want to be free of it, you have to see what this is and then see that it's all total garbage. Total 105% garbage. Okay? Because if you really open your eyes and look around, we are still alive. Why are we still alive? It's because of other living beings' kindness. Feeding us, making the clothes that we wear, giving us employment, making the things we use. We're surrounded by kindness, and our whole identity is, oh, poor me, poor me. Don't you love this identity of poor me? Yeah, you can get so much mileage out of poor me. Yeah. Oh, I've been mistreated. And then I cooked lasagna for you tonight, and you don't like my lasagna, which means you don't like me, which means I'm a failure. I don't know what to do in my life. Oh, and then you use one of two behaviors. Either you attack back If you don't like my lasagna, you go out and go get your own lasagna. You beep, 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 idiot, get out of here. Okay. Or we react with, I'm going in my room with my box of tissue. Yeah. Yeah. How many of you do the pity party one? How many of you do the blame somebody else? How many of you do both of them, depending on the circumstance? Yeah. We get a lot of mileage out of our trauma. I have an identity. This is who I am. Yeah. I grew up, in a minority group that's often been persecuted. Okay. I'm from a Jewish family. Nobody else has been persecuted like the Jews. 5,000 years. Okay. And you grow up and you're taught, the whole world hates you. Look at it now. So much anti-Semitism. Ah. Okay. Well, somewhere in that process of growing up with an identity of being persecuted, I decided I did not like that identity. I was not going to hold on to an identity of being persecuted. It's too painful. It's too painful. Yeah. There's no reason for me to hold on to that identity. Yeah. I'm a human being. I can be kind to other people. When I'm kind, people reciprocate with kindness. That's it. I don't need to make a big deal about myself. Yeah. Okay. Is that making some sense to you? Yeah. Okay. Other questions, comments? Yeah.
If we're really caught up in one of the, in that moment, what do you advise us to?
Okay. Can you be more specific with an example I can use?
Falling into that pain. And,
Physical pain or mental pain?
for example,
Physical pain. Okay. Yeah. How do you handle physical pain? Well, get used to it. We have bodies. Yeah. Anybody here who's never had physical pain? Let me ask you a question. How many people have had more physical pain than mental pain in their lives? One. How many people have had more mental pain than physical pain in their lives? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Yeah. More mental, emotional pain than physical pain. Yeah. Physical pain, you can go to the doctor for. Yeah. Or there's practices in Buddhism when you experience physical pain that you can do. Yeah. Which I won't go into now because it'll take us away. The emotional pain, yeah, the Dharma is full of so many ways we can think, yeah, to drop our physical pain, transform our physical pain. Yeah. Psychotherapy can be very helpful for some people too. Yeah. But there's, especially with the mental pain, there's antidotes, but it takes effort. Yeah. Because we have to reorient ourselves to what is happiness and where does happiness come from? Okay. And about the criticism, there's one teaching in Buddhism. When somebody criticizes you, say, good. Why would somebody say good when they're criticized? Well, why am I receiving criticism? It's because I've criticized others. Okay. This is why I asked you the question earlier on, about can you go through one day without criticizing? That's hard. Yeah. But have you got criticized every day of your life? No. We criticize others every single day. Not once, but often many times. Even mentally, we criticize them. But we do not get criticized every day. That's unfair, isn't it? Our criticism, when people criticize us, it's a result of our own negative karma of criticizing others. So if we get criticized, we can just say, okay, I created that karma. It's bouncing back to me. And if what that person said is true, I have to say thank you very much because they're telling me how to improve myself. And I always say I want to be a better human being. And they're telling me how. Sometimes in a loud voice, but that's okay. If what they say is true, helps, it helps. Yeah. And if what they say isn't true, I also don't need to get all bent out of shape because of it. Yeah, it's not true. Let it go. Uh-huh.
There's a theory that we create a healthy Indians and
Okay, I couldn't.
there's a theory that says that we can create a physical pain out of mental pain. The mental pain causes things to escape, out to escape.
What, that you can use
Some people suffer so much from mental pain that they create some kind of an illness unconsciously in order to forget them. I'd say something.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know about that one. That to me sounds like blaming somebody for their own illness. I don't believe in blame. I don't think blame is helpful. Yeah. On that theory, I don't know if that's true. I don't know. Yeah. Seems kind of your mental pain creates your physical pain. Okay, some people who have severe trauma, mental pain may burn themselves. Yeah, to get some feeling of control. But I don't think, yeah. Those people need some help. And they're harming themselves. But I don't think people give themselves their own diseases to escape their mental. Okay. That's just my personal opinion. Might be right, may not be. I don't know how you prove it one way or the other. Anything else? Okay, then we're going to dedicate the merit. We created merit. We created good karma. Yay. This is better than $1 million. $1 million. Yeah. And when we do something virtuous, we should rejoice. Yeah. Rejoice at our own virtue look around. Everybody here did something virtuous, you know, and rejoice in our own and other people's virtue. And then we want to steer it so it will ripen not only in our own welfare, but especially the welfare of others, and especially the full awakening, full enlightenment of all beings. So we have some dedication prayers. May we soon attain the awakened state of Guru Buddha, that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious Bodhima, not yet born, arise and grow. May the born have no decline, but increase forevermore. Okay. So I also want to invite you all to Sravasti Abbey. Yeah. And we are in Washington State. That's in the upper left-hand corner, far away from Washington, D.C. Okay, the other side of the country. Yeah, so please come and visit us. We have lots of things online, so make use of them.